Hello friends, nice to see you. I miss you, not sure if you miss me. It feels like doesn't it feel like it's been longer than a week? I don't know, it feels like that to me. Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Clay Emo. Oh, I almost choked saying my own name. Let's try that again. See, I'm rusty. Hey, I'm Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clay Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary live stream for Sunday night, June the 7th. Looking a little shiny today. I think I've been outside too much or something, so let's try and turn that down a little bit. But yes, I am thrilled that you are here with me. I see Anula checking in from Sweden. I see a lot of new people. This is awesome. I just feel like today is going to be a really good one. So right off the bat, thank you. Thank you for joining me. I know you could be doing anything else. I know you could be studying, working, sleeping, Netflix, PS4, Xbox, whatever you cool people do. But instead you're here with me, at least for the next little bit. So I thank you. I thank you very much, whether you're in my neighborhood of Steveston and Richmond, in the same city, the same province, the same country, the same continent, whatever it may be. And I already know that Anula's here from Sweden. I really appreciate you. And I know that many of you are here locally. Many of you that are here always, every Sunday, I appreciate you very much. And if you're stopping by for the first time, I appreciate you as well. Very unscripted, unplanned, just a chance for us to connect with each other, a chance for you to hear from me, even though I don't know why you guys come on here when you basically hear me blabbing at you for the entire week, because I do daily vlogs still. So if you want, you can hit the thumbs up button right away, and I would love that. Thank you. I love that thumbs up, that like from you. You can subscribe if you want to, if you haven't already, but if you're already on here, that's probably because you're a subscriber already. So thanks again for being here. Yeah, it's been a very busy week. Last week, as you know, we had the epic NHL 20 competition, and we can talk about that a little bit more later if we need to. But you guys remember, I actually surprised Jacob. I stung him in 2 minutes in that threes. No, actually, the first game was the ones game where Sean beat us. It was actually quite close. Sean beat us 2, Jacob 1, me 0. But then I stung Jake in that threes game in a couple minutes, beat him like 5-0 or 5-1 by fluke. And then I hung around with Sean all the way to the shootout. And you guys know it's only because I had Pittsburgh and he had Carolina. He had a really crappy goalie. And overall, he should have wiped me. But I think he outshot me like 40-19 or something, or 16. But I almost had him. I was a few minutes away from beating him in the third, but an epic collapse like I usually do. And we had a lot of fun. Yes, Dexter Murray did carry me, Matt Murray in my net. But a couple of you messaged me later and you said that you were surprised that I was better than I talked up. No, I'm really bad. I think Sean wasn't giving me a chance. He told me after he was trying his hardest, but he did have a pretty bad goaltender in his net, whereas my goalie was awesome. But that was a lot of fun. That was way better than I expected. Actually, the sound was way better than I expected. I rewatched the replay. That was a lot of fun. I know a lot of you really appreciated Jacob's commentary. Poor guy had to sit there and watch us play for the last half an hour. But overall, we had a good time. But I've released Sean and Jacob their duties, at least for the next little bit, because they do want to focus on school, especially as they wind up. Well, Sean's in the middle of a term. Jacob's winding up his term. So I'm not going to drag them down here every Sunday, but I think I have a feeling that they enjoy coming down here. I just don't want to make it a burden for them. So I'm sure we will see them sooner as opposed to later, but maybe not for tonight or the next couple weeks. But that's okay. You're here to see me, right? You're not here to see the kids. Lastly, a couple things that I've vlogged about in the past week. So I started off on Monday by vlogging about Quinn Hughes versus Cale Makar, who I think might win the Calder. I still think it's Makar now, although I really want it to be Hughes. On Tuesday, I posted my vlog with my interview with Darren Dreger. Got a lot of really good feedback. Darren Dreger was awesome. You can tell why he's a national pro, why he's got 1 million followers on Twitter. But we had a really good time. That was a nice early Tuesday morning interview, so I was able to get that out on Tuesday. Wednesday, I talked about brackets versus reseeding, which was important because on Thursday, we found out it was indeed reseeding over brackets. We can talk about that today if you want. Then also on Thursday, I talked about the youth of the Vancouver Canucks core versus the experience of Minnesota's core, which one will prevail. So that's what I talked about on Thursday. On Friday, I can't remember what I talked about, quite frankly. And then on Friday, I talked about Chris Tanev and whether or not we should sign him for a 1-year deal. And then on Saturday, I talked about, this, if we get past Minnesota, which I hope we do, but you never know. If we get past Minnesota, who would be the more likely, which team would you want us to play against? Either St. Louis, Colorado, Dallas, or Vegas. And I gave my reasons. I actually said Dallas and St. Louis I think would be better opponents for us than Colorado or Vegas. And that was my week in vlogs. And that sums up basically the week in the NHL. Phase 2 is opening up tomorrow, but Rogers Arena is not opening up because there's only 3 or 4 Canucks players in town. And with this 14-day quarantine, it makes it tough to get all your players into town. So there's no point in Markstrom and Petey coming over from Sweden. There's no point in Hughes and Besser coming out from the States when they have to then sit around for 2 weeks and they can't see their teammates. They can't go to the practice facilities. So until that quarantine is lifted, whenever that is, I don't expect to see many more Canucks coming into town. And therefore, our Phase 2, the Rogers Arena won't be used a lot in the next little bit. But, if BC continues to do well, unfortunately, the rest of Canada isn't, but we'll see what happens, and then we want to hear about host cities. So there's a lot to talk about. But I've used my 5 minutes of quota. I want to get directly to your questions, and I see a lot of new people on here, which is awesome. I see a lot of familiar faces. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't check out my vlog from earlier today, I did a 16-minute Ask Me Anything. Some of you asked questions, but I did 12 questions, basically, mostly from Twitter, but a couple from YouTube as well. And it was a really good mix of questions, everything from my life philosophy to my most least wholesome moment to my coming out party as an adult, whatever that means, to a lot of Canucks questions as well. Okay, I'm thrilled you're here. Let's see how we do. There's 25 of you watching, which is pretty cool. Sorry, no NHL streaming tonight, but maybe we should do that again. I actually think we should do a ping pong tournament one day, but we'll figure that out as we get closer into the summer. And in theory, we're supposed to have more free time. Let's get going. All right. HSM Fangirl game. We missed you last week. You missed an epic NHL tourney, but it sounds like you caught up on it. So thank you, HSM Fangirl. Hey, Clay, with the borders closed and a 2-week mandatory quarantine, do you think the draft lottery this month will be held via Zoom, but broadcasted on TV? That's a good question. I don't know where. They usually do the draft lottery out of New York. So if you want to get things, a lot of it can change in 3 weeks, right? That's not till June 26th. So if they do it in New York and the 14-day quarantine is lifted by the end of June, then conceivably Canadian GMs could go to New York and then come back and not be quarantined. So I'm going to answer that question as we get closer to June 26th. But yes, that's going to be a very fun time, that draft lottery on June 26th, and we'll see how the quarantine affects it, if at all. Great question. Alfred, hey Clay, I hope your family doing well. We are, thank you. We are busy as always, but we are doing well. And Alfred, I'm glad you're doing fine as well, because you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna ask you how you're doing. So Alfred, how are you? Oh, you're doing fine. That is great to hear. HSM Fangirl, is the best of 5 qualifier 3 wins in your advance? Yes. Best of 5 does indeed mean 3 wins. So I think what you're trying to say is the qualifying round best of 5. It is indeed, and that's not the playoffs, but the true playoffs start when it's the round of 16. Again, reseeding. So the Vancouver Canucks could, if they win, they could finish as high as 5th, 6th, or 7th, depending on who loses above them. And then we don't know who they're going to play against, whether it's St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, or Dallas, because they are reseeding as well. Great question, and Alfred helped answer that as well. Alfred, it might not happen, but it could be a possibility. What happens if the NHL does not resume the 1920 season? Does the league just start planning for next season right away? Yeah, Alfred, I think that is a possibility, although obviously the NHL wants to get going for this season and finish off the 1920 season and do a full playoff, which is the plan right now. But if they cannot finish it off for whatever reason, yeah, then I think you're going to see them start to plan and start to do draft and contracts and keep the buzz going until they can get going, whether it's later in the fall or I've heard as late as January, and that's usually if they're going to do a full 1920 season. They might not start the 2021 season until December or January, which would be a late start, but they've done it before. So I hope that doesn't happen, but you never know. A lot can happen in the next few weeks before they ramp up into phase 3 of their return to play plan. That's a good question too. Alfred, what are your thoughts on the announcement of the 24-team format of best of 5 qualifying round and the traditional best of 7 of all 4 rounds? Yeah, I love it. I love it. I've said for the past 3 weeks that the qualifying round should not be a playoff round. You can't say 24 of the 31 teams on the playoffs. It makes sense that the qualifying round gets us from 24 down to 16, and then that's the true playoff round. Best of 7, as always, traditional. So I like it. The best of 5, I would have loved the best of 7, but maybe they're worried about time. Maybe they want to create more excitement because obviously there can be more upsets in a best of 5 as opposed to a best of 7. But then I guess you're also, on the flip side, rewarding teams by reseeding. You're basically giving the best teams the best path to the finals. So I'm fine with the best of 5, and I'm happy that the round of 16, all 4 rounds are indeed full rounds, a best of 7. I think that's the best of both worlds. I'm using the word best a lot. Best of 5, best of 7, best of both worlds, best buddies. Justin, hey guys, I'm into a sci-fi movie tonight. The Rangers were playing good hockey when COVID hit. Sorry, that's 2 different things. I'm into a sci-fi movie tonight. That's cool, Justin. And then you say the Rangers were playing good hockey when COVID hit. There are a lot of teams playing good hockey. In fact, Minnesota, the team that we are going to play against in the first round, in the qualifying round, they were playing good hockey. But I really think you can throw all that out the window because everyone's basically coming off 3 or 4 months without playing. So Vancouver traditionally has really hot starts in October, and I think that bodes well for our playoff chances, or our qualifying round chances, excuse me. Good points. Justin, Alfred, I will be stoked when hockey comes back. It'll be good for people's morale. I agree with you, Justin. Speaking of Justin, I think they do this on purpose. Justin Hart from Houston, Justin live from right here in Vancouver. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hello, Justin. Nice to see you. Rob, hi, everyone. Hello, Rob. Alfred, hello, all. Nux649. I love how everyone says hi to everyone. Anula from Sweden, my favorite Swedish person, saying hi, everyone, as well. Slapshot Hockey. Hey, Clay. Hello, Slapshot. Nice to see you. Thanks for your nice comments on my YouTube channel. I subbed back. Hopefully you saw that, and keep up the good work. Ryan, hey, brother. Hope you're doing well. I'm fighting allergies, so not feeling great. Oh, that sucks, Ryan. And have you started work yet? I know we were talking about May and June. So, Ryan, let me know how you're doing, brother. But thanks for popping on despite your bad allergies. Slapshot, born in Calgary but lives in BC. Oh, sorry, Slapshot. I thought you were in Calgary still. So you're in BC right now. That's awesome. Shiraz. Hey, Clay. There's been a lot of talk about the playoff format, but I've heard surprisingly little about what it would be like to have games played in empty arenas. Do you have any thoughts on that? Shiraz, I presume you're asking me about my thoughts on empty arenas, not on the fact that they haven't been talking about empty arenas, if you follow what I'm saying. I think it's going to be fascinating. I've heard some good interviews with some people that are in the know. They're in the broadcasting world, and I think now's the time to experiment, right? Out of all years, this is the year to try new things, even on your broadcast. So I think they're going to put cameras where they typically haven't put cameras before. I don't think they should pump in crowd noise, but I've heard a couple of interviews with the Hockey Night Canada producer saying you can do a lot though with music, with live music being pumped into the arena, or coming out of or into commercial breaks, whatever it may be. So I don't want to hear fake crowd noise, but I'm fine with them being creative when it comes to music and other things that they can do to build up the ambiance. I think it's gonna be different, but I think people are gonna be quite understanding. And I think most of all, they're going to be excited for hockey, and that's the main thing. And that's what I'm excited about, no matter how it looks or how it sounds. Great question. Dexter, Murray carried you. Yes, Matt Murray was my savior last week. Got me all the way to the shootout. And if I ever knew how to shoot on net, maybe I would have done better. You guys remember my Jared McCann attempt was horrible. My boys and I watched that back, and that was pretty pathetic, actually. I tried to do a move, and I slap shot it straight into the corner. Michael, hi Clay, how are you doing? I'm great, Michael. How are you? Thanks for being here. Edmund, hello. Hello, Edmund. Nice to see you again. I appreciate always your comments on my vlogs. Christopher, hi. Same to you. Nice to see you. Edmund, of all the interviews that you've done, which one surprised you the most in terms of who is willing to agree to have an interview done, and can we expect more? Ray Ferraro would be sweet. Edmund, excellent question. There's been a couple that I've reached out to that I haven't heard back from, and I won't say their names yet until I know that's going to be a no for sure. But I would say that the 2 national guys, James Duthie and Darren Dreger, both from TSN, I was very surprised that they said yes, and they said yes so readily. James Duthie, he's got his DMs open even though he doesn't follow me, so I was able to talk to him on Twitter. And Darren Dreger, I kind of know what the TSN email address is, and so I just typed in darren.drager at blah, blah, blah. And to his credit, he responded to me right away. So there are other people that I've reached out to that I haven't heard back yet. Elliot Friedman, Dan Murphy, Kate Burness of TSN, Pierre LeBrun of TSN, Bob McKenzie of TSN. I'd love to get any of those guys as well. But I have a couple of local ones that are lined up. I haven't decided when I'm going to do them. But I want to continue them once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe less as the hockey gets going. But I do enjoy them, and it sounds like people enjoy watching them as well. So great question, Edmund. But yeah, I think the two TSN guys, Duthie and Drager, were the ones that surprised me the most that they said yes and made themselves so readily available. Maestro, who's most likely being traded, Demko or Markstrom? Canucks can protect one of them for the Seattle expansion draft next year. Yeah, I have a feeling that they're not even thinking that far ahead. I think they want to get Markstrom signed and then see how this year goes and then decide what they're going to do. I've seen scenarios, I can see scenarios where both guys stay because there's going to be a lot of young goaltenders exposed. Markstrom, maybe his cap hit's too heavy for someone to take on, or maybe that's exactly the veteran that Seattle would want. Demko could be risky, of course, but we'll see how he does this season. I've also said that you can also lowball Markstrom a little bit or do tough negotiations and try and trade him then if you don't think that you're going to be able to sign him and get anything for him because you have stock in Demko. So it's complicated, right? We haven't talked about it a lot recently because the Canucks haven't been playing. But yeah, it's a good problem to have. We always seem to have, especially Luongo and Schneider, we always seem to have these problems with good goaltenders. So who's most likely to be traded? I think if they sign Markstrom, they're going to want to keep him for his duration. So if I had to pick one, it would be Demko. You could probably get a lot for him given his potential, or maybe some people say he's not proven yet. I'm not sure, but I would hate to see either of them go. But that would be tough. Justin, hi Clay, did you hear about the money puck odds on the play-in series? They gave the Canucks the lowest odds of all teams to advance. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but I did hear that Vancouver had among the lowest odds of all teams. I think that's bull, quite frankly. Obviously, I think Vancouver can beat Minnesota, but I think it's an even series for sure. But I'd say there are other series that you think are more lopsided than this one. So for Vancouver to have the lowest odds to advance, that's fine. Take that disrespect and shove it in their face kind of thing by advancing. But that did surprise me, and I certainly don't agree with it. Laura, glad you're here. Do you think the organization will let Bo have a bit of time off to be around for the birth of his son, seeing as when he's due next month? This is complicated, but in a good way. Like it's a good problem to have. We know of the story of Burrows basically playing a playoff game and then going to be there for the birth of his kid and then back to Vancouver. Yeah, I could see them giving a bit of time off, but I could also see Bo, if his wife Holly's healthy, if the baby's healthy, I could see Bo wanting to get back to his teammates as well. Not because he doesn't value family, but because, I'm sure he's itching to play hockey as well. I'm not at all suggesting that he's sick of his family time. So, in the best of both worlds, maybe the baby's born early, yet healthy, and then he can be at home as long as he can before he joins the team. But do I think they'll give him time? I'm sure they will. How much time that is an extra day or two, especially if it's more training or practices. I'm sure that will be doable. It'd be different, right, if the teams are playing already. But the fact that it's just practice or training camp, I'm sure they'll give Bo as much time as he wants. It's just really up to him how much time he wants to have at home before he gets out to Vancouver. But that's a good question. And, as a father of 3 myself, I would obviously want to be around for the birth of my kids, make sure the kid's healthy, make sure my wife's healthy before I fly halfway across the country. Great question, though. Fernando, I'm hearing the NHL might play during the summer instead of the regular start from now on. Yeah, I haven't heard that, Fernando. So let me know where you heard that from. And I don't see that happening going forward. They might need a year or two to catch up, to recalibrate the schedule. But no, I don't think the summer is going to be a regular thing. Hockey is simply not a summer sport for sure. Edmund, I may be in the minority, but if the NHL has to cancel the season, I'm okay for it. I think all the travel bans would be chaotic now, and I care more of player safety. That's me, though. No, Edmund, you're not. You might be in the minority, but you're certainly not alone. Because I know a lot of people, up to a third on some polls, were saying, no, there's no need to come back this season. This season's already messed up. I'd rather make sure everyone comes back healthy and safe. So I don't think that's messed up at all. I don't think that's wrong thinking. It might be in the minority, but there's nothing wrong with your thinking because I think a lot of people would agree with you. Dexter, what are your thoughts on that goof? He said the NHL isn't one of the major 4 sports. Yeah, that's Max Kellerman. Done some boxing, done some commentary, obviously saying it's not one of the 4 major sports leagues. I guess by popularity or by revenue and TV ratings, he's not wrong in certain areas of the States. Of course, in Canada, that's not right because it's the #1 sport here. But of the big four, it's definitely fourth in the States for sure, behind football, basketball, and baseball. And yeah, I've heard that NASCAR is more popular. I've heard that golf and tennis may be more popular. College sports is more popular than the NHL. So, you know, I don't, I can see why he said it, and maybe he was trying to get some publicity as well. I don't agree with it because I live up here in Vancouver, Canada. But I could see where somewhere, if you're somewhere in the States that doesn't have a lot of hockey, I could see where you would wonder why it's considered one of the big four. Brock Bester, hello Brock, nice to see you. Rob, what happens to the players that would have become free agents on July 1st? I guess that date will happen later, maybe September, October 1st. Yeah, they're gonna have to make a ruling on that pretty darn quick. But I think the understanding, Tyler Toffoli, for instance, he does not become a free agent on July 1st if the NHL is planning to come back. He will become a free agent at the end of the season, at the end of the playoffs, right? Because generally the playoffs end by the second week of June. So I'm sure all contracts will be extended. My guess is of players, not like guys like Judd Brackett, but contracts of players will be extended until the end of the playoffs. So likely October or so. It would be too crazy. You can't have guys becoming free agents before the start of the restart of the league. Christopher, how do the Canucks have the worst odds? I have no clue. Maybe some guy who hated Vancouver made those odds. Ryan, I haven't started work still. Sorry to hear, Ryan. Good luck, man. Dexter, Anula is your favorite Swedish person. I think you forgot who is your favorite Swedish person. What about PD Markey, Eagle, the Sedins? You're awesome, Anula. Okay, I'll bounce down. She goes, I like PD and Marcus better too. Okay, that's cool. I assume you meant Marcus Naslin, Anula. But yeah, sorry I'm so slow. I get to like your questions 10 or 15 minutes later because there are so many questions in a good way. Laura, I'm wondering if you've seen the pictures of Pro Baseball League in Japan with the stuffed animals in the stands. Do you think the NHL consider? Yeah, I've seen it, and actually, upon first glance, it looks real, right? It looks like there are a lot of people there until you find out that they're inanimate objects, that they're puffy, and that they don't move. Well, that's what inanimate means. So I don't think the NHL would do that. I just think it's a little goofy. Japan, I'm half Japanese, and they do goofy things, right? They try different things, but I don't think the NHL would do that. I think they would just darken. If they did anything, they do cardboard cutouts. I don't think they do stuffed animals. And then, because you'd have to not just do behind the home plate in baseball, you have to do the whole one side, right? For TV, or if you're doing new camera angles, like I talked about, you have to do the whole arena. So if anything, they might do cardboard cutouts, but I think they'll simply blacken out the seats as much as they can and focus on doing a really, really dynamic product from the ice. So I don't think they should consider it. Brock, do you think there'll be high security during the games in case people try to sneak into the arenas during the games with no fans? No, Brock, I don't think there's going to be any extra high security because we're not talking about the local community arena where you could sneak in the back door by wedging the door open. No, these are professional arenas, like whatever the host city is. So no, I don't think they're going to be worried about fans sneaking into the arenas. Because you think of Rogers Arena, for instance, they just got to lock the doors from the inside and you can't get in. So interesting thought, but I don't think they're too worried about that. Dexter, these are the teams in order I like the Canucks to see if they made the playoffs. Dallas, St. Louis, Colorado, and Vegas. The reason Colorado is third because McKinnon is a scary guy. Yeah, Dexter, I'm not sure if you saw my vlog. That's exactly the order I had. Dallas, even though we lost to them twice, I still think Dallas is kind of streaky in the playoffs. And I think we match up well against them, although they have some really high-powered offense, some good D, and a good goaltender. It'll be a tough matchup, but I still think that's the team I want. St. Louis, we played well against them. We beat them 2-1 during the regular season, so that would be my second choice as well. Colorado, be a run-and-gun series. Pettersson versus McKinnon, McCarr, and Hughes. Horvat, Toffoli, Besser versus Landeskog, Rantanen. It'll be awesome, but they scare me. And Vegas is always a tough team for us to play against. Although with Colorado and Vegas, we split the series 1-1 during the season. St. Louis, we beat them 2-1. In Dallas, we lost 2 of those games to Dallas. So my order is actually opposite of how they finished in the against them in the regular season. Anula, I like PD and Marcus. Oh yeah, I said that already. Nux, what are your thoughts on the NBA coming back July 31st in the city, which is Orlando? Yeah, Nux, I'm fine with it. Their formula is a little weird, right? 13 teams on the West, 9 from the East. But I heard it's because they want Zion to have a chance to make the playoffs with New Orleans. But yeah, I'm fine with the NBA coming back. Their rosters are smaller, and there's still contact on the court. But they're going to do their bevy of testing. Yeah, I'm fine, and it sounds like they'll come back a little earlier than the NHL, which is fine. I don't think it's a race, so hopefully it goes well and that they stay safe and stay healthy and they launch well. I'd love to see it happen. I'm a big basketball fan. Christopher, do we keep Toffoli? I think we try. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think we definitely try. I've always said that Markstrom's a priority, but Toffoli's right up there as well. So they'd have to get creative. Can't sign Tanev if you keep Toffoli. Maybe have to get rid of Sutter and or Eriksson. Easier said than done, but yeah, I think they should try and keep Toffoli, especially if he lights it up and continues a strong play during the qualifying round and the playoffs. Justin, Canucks odds for money pucks to advance, 39.2%, last of all playing teams, including behind Winnipeg at 39.7. Even Winnipeg at 39.7, that's an 8-9 matchup. Calgary, Winnipeg, right? Their odds should be higher, but definitely, you can't tell me. That's weird. I mean, they're saying Arizona has a better chance of being Nashville. They're saying Chicago has a better chance of being Edmonton. I don't know. I think Vancouver's chances are 50 at least, not 39.2. Thanks for writing that out, Justin. Alfred, if you had to choose between the two play-by-play guys, who would you choose, Shorthouse or Houston, and why? Oh, good question. I like them both. I know Shorthouse better, but I really like the way that Houston calls games. So if I had to pick one, I'd pick Houston over Shorty, but just by a hair. Edmund, did you watch or read recaps of WWE, NXT In Your House Old School with the In Your House Old School WWF back in the day? Yes, I watched In Your House back in the day. I was aware of the NXT one, but no, I haven't read recaps yet, so don't spoil it for me. I'll read it before I go to bed tonight. Thanks, Edmund. Christopher, how do the Montreal Canadiens have a 60% chance of beating Pittsburgh? That's crazy. That's probably the Carey Price effect for sure. But that doesn't make sense. Dexter, Sean Warren says he thinks Minnesota will beat the Canucks. Remind me who Sean Warren is. He's a writer, right? Which is fine. You know, he's got to pick one of the two teams. Oh, no, sorry. Sean Warren's on, he's on Canucks Twitter. Yeah, I was thinking of the wrong guy. And that's fine if Sean thinks that that Minnesota will beat the Canucks because it's a very even matchup for sure. Yeah, Sean, I think I know who you're talking about. He's the one on Twitter. Ricky, hola, ¿cómo estás? Hope all is well. Clay, how many games will the Canucks and Wild Series go? I picked the Canucks in 4. Ricky, not only are you good looking and very cool, but you're very smart. I also picked the Canucks in 4. It's not gonna be a cakewalk, but I think that they can finish it off without going the distance against Minnesota. And thanks for coming on. Appreciate you always checking in and tweeting and replying to the videos. Thanks, Ricky. Anula, what about Michael Furlan? Is he ready to play now? With Furlan and Levo, they are not ready as of now, but they say they will be ready by August comes around. There's still 2 more months, right? Furlan, it's you don't want to. It's tricky, right? He can be such an important player in the playoffs. His style is why is exactly what we want from a playoff player. We remember how he completely terrorized the Canucks back in 2015 when he's playing with Calgary. But do you risk dressing him? And if he gets knocked out in the first or second play of the game, unfortunately, then you're down to 11 forwards for the rest of the game. It's kind of risky, but they're saying that he could be ready by the end by August. So we'll see if they end up playing him though as a top 12 guy. HSM Fangirl, the draft lottery is usually held in Toronto and CB Studios, but they might do it in New York this year. Oh, I see what you mean. So if it's in Toronto, then the quarantine will definitely have an effect. So we'll see what happens there. Thanks for that, HSM Fangirl. Edmund, although I think it's been in New York before too. Edmund, with Chris Cuthbert back, I love his enthusiasm and his voice, especially when he called Brendan Morrison OT goal in 2004 playoffs and Matt Cook tying the game versus the Flames back in 2004. Yeah, that was right before he did his 15-year stint with TSN. Almost all CFL, right? You did some Olympic stuff, but CFL, Grey Cup. Yeah, I'm excited. I like Chris Cuthbert a lot. I think he'll be really good. And I think he's a great addition to the Sportsnet team. Dexter, who is one Canuck you would not want to fight? Who's the toughest? If you're talking right now, Furlan, if he's healthy, would scare me. I actually think that Roussel would be tough to fight against. He'd just be a dirty fighter, right? He'd be tough. And Meyer's size scares the heck out of me, quite frankly. So I think those 3 guys right now, with the current Canucks, I'd say Furlan, Roussel, Myers, and I don't think I'd want to get Jake Virtanen mad either. Christopher, I heard the reason that the NHL wants to play in the summer is because they lose a lot of money to basketball if playoffs in the summer. They would make a lot more money as not fighting with the NBA. Yeah, if they want to get away from the NBA, that makes sense, but are they going to their game of hockey in the summer? So good question. Laura, who do you think will get more, Petey or Quinn? Laura, I presume you're talking about money as opposed to anything else. I think Pettersson will get more. Generally, forwards get more. And you look at guys like Jack Eichel, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, they're all making 10, 11 million. Whereas the highest paid D-men will usually get about 8 or 9. So I think that Pettersson will get 10 to 12 million. And then I think Hughes will get between 8 and 9. So I do think it'll be Pettersson if you're talking about money. Brock, what if one player gets tested positive during a playoff round? Does the whole team have to quarantine and end the round, or what will happen? Brock, that's a great question. I've heard that if they had 1 or 2 positive tests, they would try and isolate those and keep going. Like I test the rest of the players, and if they're fine, go. But if it's any more than 1 or 2, then you're looking at almost a little mini outbreak among the team, and I think they would have to shut it down, which would be sad, which would be scary. And I guess that's what people are worried about, right? They do all this work, get all the fans' hopes up, and then for it to go wrong. So we pray that doesn't happen, but it is a possibility. Dexter, what was that team in Asia who put sex dolls in the stands? I'm not sure. I don't follow that kind of news, Dexter, so maybe someone else knows. Edmund, in your opinion, do you think movie theaters would reopen in July? I can see you may not have a packed theater, but I can see you definitely do social distancing with it. Yeah, I think theaters are definitely a phase 3, phase 4 thing, so I could see them being open. But yeah, you would just have to, just like we do at church or any other place, you'd have to physically distance yourself, and then it'd have to get cleaned very thoroughly after every showing. I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable going to a movie theater, quite frankly, but we'll see. Justin Lai, I don't agree with the odds either, especially with other lopsided series and factors, but let the disrespect be motivation to prove the doubters wrong. Maybe JT Miller can be our Kawhi Leonard this year. I'm fine if JT Miller is our Kawhi or MVP as long as he doesn't leave after this season, but he can't because he's not a UFA. But I know what you're saying, Justin. Brock, do you think they'll still use goal horns during games? Of course. It'd be really weird if they scored a goal and then you just hear the guys going, yeah, F yeah, good goal, good shot, good pass, whatever. No, I think there'll be a goal horn and there'll be music for sure. They just won't be fake fans cheering or real fans cheering. Dexter, St. Louis, Colorado, and Vegas dominated the season in terms of play, but the Canucks still barely got some wins. I remember when Demko carried the Canucks to us in a win against St. Louis. Yeah, definitely. And even that win against Vegas, that was the one where Josh Levo broke his kneecap. We got out to an early lead, and then they came back, stormed back, and we had to hold them off and finally win in overtime or shootout. So yeah, there's a reason why St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas finished top 4 and why we finished, battling for 8th. So yeah, those are good teams, obviously. Christopher, any thoughts on the only reason needed 24 teams is they include Montreal and New York and Chicago that make a lot of money? Yeah, there's no secret that those are 3 original 6 teams that could make them a lot of money for sure. Yeah, they can say what they want about competitive balance and bringing as many teams back, but I'm sure that was a factor for sure. Alfred, I like Houston too. Yep. Dexter, Cuthbert or Houston? Oh, that's a good one. I'd have to hear Cuthbert on hockey once again before I say. Cuthbert or Shorty? Yeah, same reason, but I think Cuthbert could easily be as good as Houston for, he's got good timing, he's got a good tone, so I can see Cuthbert being really good. But yeah, all 3 guys, Cuthbert, Houston, and Shorty, are all really, really good. Nux, 649. The NBA player is allowed to bring 3 family members with them. Oh, that's cool to know. That's good. Edmund, I think Brock Besser will shine in that mini matchup. A feeling, or JT Miller will dominate, I think too. Yeah, I would love our top 6 to dominate, but we shall see. That was kind of like the reasoning or the premise of my vlog. The average age of the Canucks top 6 players are 24 years of age. Not top 6 scorers, including Quinn Hughes. The average age of Minnesota Wild top 6 scorers, including 2 defensemen, Spurgeon and Suter, is 32 years old. So 32 versus 24. That's a big gap, that 8 years. Yeah, Edmund. Oh, no, I just said that. King Angus, hey Clay. Hello, King Angus. Thanks for being here. Laura, Chief said the other day on Sportsnet 650 that we will sweep the Wild. And a huge reason for that is Markey will be fully healthy and ready. Just curious about your opinion. Yeah, a sweep is quite doable because it's only 3 wins as opposed to 4. But I don't think that's giving Minnesota enough credit because just as Markstrom could be healthy and really good, Stalock or Dubnyk could also steal a game or 2, and then it takes us for 1 game, right? And then it's not a sweep either. So I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I think confidence in Markey is fine because we saw how good he was this year. Dexter, for me, it's Markey. I can't remember what we were talking about before. Oh, fighting maybe. Nux, it's Trampkin. Yep. Laura, it was about money. Okay, the question is who's going to get more, and I agree. Yep. Brock, do you know how much Canucks season ticket holders are there? Do you know how much Canucks season ticket holders are there? Oh, not cost, but how many are there? I thought the number was 8 to 10,000. It used to be like 12 or 14, a lot higher, right? And then they'd only have a couple thousand, or maybe 2 to 4,000 for sale. But I heard it's more down to 8 or 10,000 now, and then that's why they have almost half the arena of non-season ticket holders. Maybe that's a little low. I'm not sure. No, so I don't know the exact number, but I do know there's no wait list now. I do know that. Nux, is it a new phase tomorrow for Monday for the NHL? Yes, they're into phase 2. So many cities are opening up their practice facilities, but Vancouver is not one of them because we don't have enough players here. Ricky, do you think the Canucks and Bonnie Henry would allow fans inside Rogers Arena to watch the playoff games on big screens or outside big screens? Oh, that's a good question. It depends on what phase we're on and how they would do it. You can do that with physical distancing for sure. Do I think they would allow it? So Ricky, you're obviously assuming that Vancouver will not be a host city, but would they allow people in Rogers Arena to watch? My gut feeling is no. I think it's an interesting theory, but my gut feeling is no, especially if the number doesn't go up much more than 50. Even if they go up to 200, gatherings at 200, would they open up Rogers Arena for 200 fans? I highly doubt it, but that's a very interesting question. Laura, once there are fans allowed back, do you think they will start with just season ticket members, or will everyone once again with social distancing most likely? Yeah, or some distancing most likely. I figure if they let fans in the arena and it's not even 1 out of every 2 seats, it'll be 1 out of every 3 or 1 out of every 4, then you're looking at crowds of, right, 4,000 or 5,000 as opposed to 8,000 or 9,000, which is half of 18,000. So I don't know if they're going to do a mix of season ticket members. Maybe not all the season ticket members are going to renew. I don't know. But you think that they would get first dibs, although that would suck for non-season ticket members. But I don't know how they'd do that. That's a really good question, Laura. Maybe I should ask my ticket rep, or maybe I'll wait until that time comes. But that's a good question. Edmund, this is just a prediction, but once NHL can allow fans in buildings again, I predict the person who drops the puck for the first game for Canucks will be Dr. Bonnie Henry and Adrian Dix. Yeah, I could see Dr. Bonnie Henry being getting some love for sure, given everything she's done. And you guys know that she's getting international attention now. In fact, a beautiful article in the New York Times about her this weekend. So no, she's a rock star. She's awesome. Rome, hello Rome, nice to see you. Think they'll still sing the national anthems before the playoff games? I do. I know they've been talking about that over the past couple days because of what's happening in the States, and I know TSN 1040 was talking about it. Do I still think they'll sing the national anthems? I do. I think they'll be looking at ways to. Obviously I can't say they're going to look at ways to engage the crowd because no one's there, but I wonder if that's one thing that they will retain going forward. But then you're bringing in an extra body just to sing the anthems. That's a good question, Rome. I never thought about that. Maybe I think they will because I still like anthems. One of my best friends is Marie Huey, the amazing online singer. So I'm sorry, I was reading something about the amazing anthem singer. So we'll see. I'm going to see Marie next weekend. I might ask her about that as well. Good question. Rob, when they get to the Stanley Cup Final Series, do you know if they will play in one arena or switch to the other arena for games 3, 4, and 6? No, I don't know that. I'm sure that's going to come out. You're right, because you're going to have a host city for the West, a host city for the East, then one West winner, one East winner, and then will they swap host cities for some of the games? That would make a lot of sense, but no, I haven't heard anything about that yet, Rob. Good question, though. Alfred, let's say we finish the 1920 season in the final quarter of the year. Would it mean the 2021 season will be abbreviated as it did for the 2020? Yeah, I've heard that they can start in January and still do an 82-game season, and then there'll be one more year of playing through the summer, at least until July, and then starting again in the fall. So if we finish the full season, would it mean the 2021 will be abbreviated? No, I thought that they're going to try and do a full season for 2021, because at least when this pandemic started, they said that they want to protect the integrity of next season. So I think they're going to find a way to get it all in. I don't think they're going to want 2 shortened seasons in a row. How the timing works, I'm not sure. Dexter, the fight thing, okay, about Markey. I almost yawned. Knock 649. What if school is still online in September? Then school is still online in September. I know Sean, my eldest son, UBC, they've already said that they're going to be online in September. So he has no plans to go back, doesn't need to go back. So yeah, we will see what happens. But I don't know about high school. I think high schools and elementary schools will try and go back. But yeah, I don't see post-secondary going back for the next little while. Helen, hi Clay. Singing is one of the worst things for transmitting droplets, so maybe no anthems. Yeah, no, that's true. I am aware that, I don't know the percentage, but I am aware that there are stats that say, of course, we're singing with the droplets coming in your mouth, that is worse. So maybe it's just the poor guy who has to wipe down the microphone. I'm not sure. So yeah, that maybe there won't be any anthems. That's a good point. Tony, who will turn out to be a better player, Virtanen or Gaudette? I've already liked what I see from Gaudette. He had a .53 points per game already. He's a center, so he's going to be, I think he's already better defensively than Virtanen. Not as fast as Virtanen, but maybe he's got more offensive upside and also hockey IQ. I think Gaudette's going to be a better player than Virtanen, despite Virtanen being picked a lot higher. I like them both, but I think if I had to pick one, I'd bet on Gaudette. Edmund, is your youngest daughter back at school or is she doing online? Edmund, good question. Kayla's in grade 7. They were given the choice to go back to school or to stay online. And Kayla went back to school, and 19 of the 31 in her class went back to school. I think that's more of a social thing because they're in grade 7 and they recognize they're not going to see each other a lot after this month. So I think the older classes have more, like that 19. For instance, my wife Gail teaches grade 4, and only 4 of her 31 kids came back. Now I told her it's because she's probably an awesome online teacher, so parents feel very comfortable with their kids learning online, or only 4 kids want to see her again. I'm not sure which one it is, but yeah, Kayla is back at school just a couple times a week though. Manpreet, congrats to Sean. I may see him at UBC. That's awesome, Manpreet. Yeah, he's finished his first year at Sauder Business School, but he's got 3 more years to go. Manpreet, what are you studying? Let me know. Edmund, I want to see Virtanen get to 20 goals so he can do a shotgun. Who, me? I'm not doing a shotgun. Did I say I'm doing a shotgun, or are you talking about someone else? And if I was going to shotgun anything, it would be apple juice or water. Or if Virtanen's going to do a shotgun, that makes more sense. But Edmund, let me know what you meant by that. Laura, who do you think will have an unsung hero for us in the play-in round and hopefully playoffs? Okay, good. Jake, not me. Good. I think, speaking of Jake, I think Jake could be an unsung hero. I talked about that in my Ask Me Anything today. He's the type of guy who's built for the playoffs, and I would love to see him do well. You know, I could also see someone, you know, you wouldn't really consider anyone in the top 6 an unsung hero because they get a lot of press. So maybe it is a Gaudette or a Roussel or a Virtanen, a third liner, or maybe, you know, a second or third pairing D-man like a Tanev or a Stetcher, as opposed to a Hughes or a Myers or an Edler. So I'd go with one of the third liners though. Maybe Roussel, maybe Virtanen, maybe Gaudette could be an unsung hero for sure. Because those are the kind of guys that kind of step up, right? You expect the top 6 to do well, but it's one of those guys that I think would be a great unsung hero for sure. Rob, we could bring an organ back for the anthems, just have a Yamaha keyboard amplify. I can play both the Star Spangled Banner and O Canada. I would gladly play the anthems for a game if I was ever asked. Edmund, no, not you. Jake, I mean, yeah, no, cool. Nicholas, favorite Canuck of all time? That's Roberto Luongo. I've talked about that before. I loved him when he was here with Vancouver. I loved him when he won the gold medal for Canada. I loved how he almost took us to Stanley Cup. I don't love how they made him captain. I thought that was tough on him. I loved his personality, especially as he loosened up. Not his fault that we're paying the cap recapture penalty. So Luongo is my favorite player of all time, and I've told this story before. I did a Boyz II Men song with Marie, End of the Road, tribute song to Luongo after he got traded to Florida. And he actually reached out to me and he sent me a DM saying thanks for the song. That was very touching. So I've always respected him for that. And as I talked about my vlog today, I've always liked Trevor Linden as well. Too bad that he had a bad split from the team a couple years ago, but I've always liked him. He's always made time for me. I've interviewed him before. I've talked to him. I've joked around with him. I've had him come to my Catholic school that my wife teaches at. So I like Trevor Linden a lot. So let's go with Luongo and Linden. Rome, are there any players or UFAs you would like to see betting trying to acquire? Yeah, there's a few, but a lot of them are quite expensive, quite frankly. I would like him to try to go for like a mid-range guy that's, like I'd love to say Alex Pietrangelo would be awesome here, because he would be awesome here. But I think that maybe he's going to go for, you know, a more mid-range guy, like a $3 million, $4 million guy as opposed to $5 or $6 million guy. You know, Tyson Barrie does intrigued me a little bit. I don't think they used him well in Toronto. And yes, he's an offensive player. We have that in Quinn Hughes, but I know we were linked to him last year at the draft. So, he's a name that interests me. I'm not sure if he's going to be at the top of all of our lists, but that Tyson Barrie does intrigue me for sure. I don't know if we should get him, though. It probably costs too much. Edmund, Jake is a power forward, and people have to learn that it'll take time, like a D-man, to do well in the NHL. He's getting better and better every year, and people need to be patient. Yeah, I like Jake a lot. In picking Gaudette over Jake, I don't think that was a slight to Jake, but there are questions about whether or not what his true ceiling is. But I like him a lot. Nux, I want to see Ferland 100% healthy, ready to go so he can deck everyone on Minnesota. Yes. He was a one-man wrecking crew against Vancouver 5 years ago, and I remember being scared of him, and I was sitting here in my living room watching him. I can't imagine playing hockey against him on the ice. Manpreet, Faculty of Arts, going to major in psych. That's awesome, Manpreet. Good luck. Laura, favorite alternate jersey in the league other than ours? Ooh, good question. Favorite alternate jersey? Yeah, I actually like that Colorado one that I've seen them wear quite a few times. I don't mind that one, actually. The Colorado one. I'm trying to think of Winnipeg's alternate jersey right now. What does Winnipeg's look like? Yeah, I'm not a big alternate jersey fan, but when you say that, the first one that sticks out to me is actually the Colorado one, which I think is kind of cool. So I'm going to go with that one because that's the only one I can think of right now. Rob, I'll look that up, the Laura, for next time. Rob, has there ever been a Canuck that you disliked or felt he did not fit on the Canucks? A few guys. Matthew Schneider, many years ago, I thought he was going to do way better for the team, but he didn't. Keith Ballard, I thought was going to do way better for the team, but doesn't mean I dislike them. Messier, I didn't have anything against him. You hear stories about how he's kind of split the room, but I didn't hate him when he was here. So, guys like Ballard, I thought was misused. David Booth, I thought I actually liked him. I had his jersey back in the day, but I think David Booth was misused here. So there are a few guys like that, but no one that I'd say I disliked or didn't really fit in. But a lot of guys didn't really get a sniff and didn't really get a chance to develop some chemistry for sure. Dexter, Benning and UFAs, abort. Brock, our defense will look different without Tanev if he doesn't resign. Yeah, they're going to give Rafferty one of those two spots between Tanev and Stetcher, but there's still another spot there to fill in. Some say Trampkin, but you guys know I'm not convinced. Tony, I just ordered a Pettersson 50th anniversary flying skate jersey. Sweet, sold my Bure. What? Out with the old and in with the new. Tony, how much you sell your Bure for? That's crazy. But I'm sure your PD black jersey will look awesome. The flying skate jersey. Manpreet, your top 5 NHL players. Manpreet, I'm surprised. Not surprised. I'm presuming you mean favorite as opposed to best, or do you mean best as opposed to favorite? I think you mean the best players, actually, not my top 5 favorite players. Best players in the world right now. Best. There we go. Okay, so you got to go with McDavid, McKinnon, for sure. I would say that McDavid, McKinnon. Would I say Draisaitl's top 5? No, he's the top scorer, but is he top 5? McDavid, McKinnon. I'd still put Crosby in the top 5 just because of everything he brings. So let's say those 3 for sure. Whatever order you want. McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby. Then maybe, I thought Kucherov was really good last year. Is Kucherov top 5? Draisaitl top 5? I really liked Philip Forsberg, actually, but he's kind of dropped back a little bit. Yeah, so I'm going to go McKinnon, maybe Matthews and Marner could be up there. Pettersson, I think, could get up there soon. Not yet. There's a lot of really good players, obviously. Okay, right now I'll go McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, and I will say Kucherov and someone like Marner or Matthews. That's what I'll say for now. Winnipeg is the wordmark Jets and the Christopher. Thanks, Roman. I remember that. I remember that now that you say that. Yeah, it's okay. That one's okay. Christopher, why are the Canucks amazing? Because they simply are. They're young, they're fast, they got some pretty cool characters, and they're going to be good for the next few years. Samuel, hi Clay, haven't been on stream in a while. How have you been? Samuel, yes, I recognize your name. Nice to see you. Things are good. We're busy as always. Gail's teaching, Sean's at UBC, Jacob's in grade 11, doing a lot of church stuff with me. Kayla's in grade 7, confirmation year. I'm not studying my master's this term. I took a break, but I've been busier than ever with video projects, with church projects, with work, with vlogging, and my own personal interests. So things are going well, Samuel, and I hope that you are doing well as well. Rob says, thanks, you're welcome. Not sure what that was for, but you're welcome. Next, if the Canucks had Austin Matthews, would you trade him for Nathan McKinnon? Yeah, I would. I like McKinnon more than Matthews, just by a bit. I'm not sure what the age gap is. I presume McKinnon's a little bit older, but he's got a way better contract. So I would take McKinnon over Matthews because I think McKinnon's a tiny bit better right now. TJ, if you could replace Travis Green with any other coach in the NHL, who would you replace him with and why? You know, I've always liked John Cooper of Tampa Bay, even though they had a bad playoff last year. I've always liked Paul Maurice of the Winnipeg Jets, quite frankly. I like him. So maybe one of those two guys. I like Trotz. Do I like... yeah, a lot of the younger guys I don't know of that well. So maybe one of those guys. Actually, I like Joe Quenneville. He's a little old. I know he was playing with Chicago, leading Chicago in all those crazy rivalries, but I think Quenneville's a good coach as well. So one of those guys maybe. Quenneville, Trotz, Maurice, or John Cooper. Jets also have their jersey from the Heritage Classic. Oh, that's right. Thanks, Laura. That's true. Best players. Good. Ryan, why would Tony sell his Beery jersey? Well, that's up to Tony. Edmund, how come no kids tonight? Edmund, basically by the kids coming on last week for the whole hour, I gave them a bit of a break for a few weeks. And I want to make sure that they want to come on, and they do, but they didn't want to make it a weekly thing, especially when they were doing church stuff or school stuff. So I'll let the kids come on as they come, make it more of a surprise as opposed to an expectation. And now that I only do these once a week as opposed to twice, with twice a week, it was fine because it was a nice break, so you didn't have to hear from me twice. But now that I only do this once a week, it makes sense that I don't bring them on all the time. Dexter, Louis Eriksson, no, not my top 5. Panarin, yeah, he'd be my top 10 for sure. Laura Nort, favorite goalie in the league other than Marky or Thatcher? Great question, Laura. That's Connor Hellebuyck. I really like him. My cousin Dusty coached him when my cousin Dusty was a Winnipeg Jets goaltending coach. I have Hellebuyck in my fantasy keeper league. He plays for my second favorite team, Winnipeg. Yes, he's American, but I do like Hellebuyck a lot. Nuck says, I love Panarin. That's cool. Dexter, Yossi, top 5, I'd say that's fair. By the way, Laura, who's your favorite goalie? When you guys ask me a question, too, about your favorite player, your top 5, make sure you give me yours, too, so it's not just me talking to you. I want to know what your top 5 players are or your favorite goalie is. So if you ask a question, make sure you give me your answer, too. Manpreet, good. Manpreet, you read my mind. My top 5 is McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby, Draisaitl, Panarin. No, that's good. We have 3 of the same 5. Good. Which NHL arena would you like to visit and why? Alfred, I would have said Vegas, but I was there last year. I would love to go to Madison Square Garden. I think that would be a fun place to watch a game. Yeah, I'd say Madison Square or Nashville. Nashville's games look absolutely crazy. So Alfred, tell me yours. Ovi, yeah, I don't know if he's top 5 anymore, but I still like him. Tony, there's an Instagram account doing the top 5 Louis Eriksson goals countdown over the next 5 days. Oh, that's good. Top 5 like ever or from this season? Because they'd all be empty netters, right? Dexter, McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, Yossi, and Panarin. Yeah, another vote for Panarin. Good. Edmund, when your cousin was with the Jets, did he know Evander Kane was a major problem back when he was a Jet? Edmund, great question about my cousin Dusty. Yes, my cousin Dusty did hint that Evander was a bit of a problem. He didn't get into specifics. I think he didn't want to spread rumors or break the code, so to speak. But he did say that even back then, Evander was part of the franchise and that he wasn't the most well-liked. My cousin Dusty did confirm that back in the day. Tony, empty net goes. There you go. Alfred, I want to visit MSG. I want to experience their atmosphere. I agree. Nux, McDavid, Crosby, Ovi, McKinnon, and Panarin. So yet another vote for Panarin. Very good. Samuel, I'd love to see a game in Denver, in Colorado. Yeah, that would be good. They got a good atmosphere. Dexter, Ovi, happy, funny face. Manpreet, Prime Ovechkin or Prime Malkin? Oh, I like Prime Ovechkin. Malkin's great. Maybe he had to live in Crosby's shadow. I just love the flair of Ovechkin's game, but you can't, Malkin's reach is the way that he can fight guys off the puck. Both guys are obviously really good players. We know that their history together, but I take Ovi. Ovi is top 12 to 18. Ovi. Okay, a lot of Ovis. Awesome. Finally, I caught up. It took 54 minutes. But I caught up to everything in the comments. Malkin is so underrated. I also love Hellebuyck and Holtby, top 5 NBA players of all time. And top 5, no order. I go MJ, LeBron, I would go Kareem, maybe Wilt, and I don't know, Shaq, Oscar Robertson, one of those other type of center type guys. Maybe Magic Johnson, but definitely LeBron and MJ are there, and Kareem and Wilt are there for me. I'd like to see a game in Montreal, Toronto. Yep, those would be good. Do you think Levo has a long-term place on the Canucks? No, I don't. I think he's going to get a one-year contract because of his unfortunate injury, and they'll see what happens from there. But he could be a really good, third liner for many years to come. Kobe, yeah, Kobe's good. He's top 10 for sure. I wouldn't put him top 5 though. Helen, I'd love to see a game in Montreal and Nashville. Yeah, ditto. Steve Nash, not top 5, but I love him a lot. Dream finals matchup. You talking about NBA? Manpreet, I'll go with, for this year, I presume, I would love to see, NHL. So NBA, I was going to say LA, Toronto. I think that'd be a lot of fun. NHL, Dream Finals, well, dream, meaning it might not come true. I love to see Vancouver, Toronto. I think that'd be hilarious and awesome for so many reasons. So that's my dream matchup for this year, Vancouver versus Toronto. And maybe, that's my answer. Vancouver versus Toronto. I think that'd be a lot of fun. All Canada, Matthews versus Besser and Pedersen, Tavares, Marner, the like. I think that'd be great. So Dexter says, Nicholas says, great stream, have a great night. Thanks, Nicholas. I'm going to be wrapping up in the next 5 minutes, so thank you. Dexter says Canucks versus Detroit. Alfred says Vancouver versus Toronto. Laura says Jets, also my second favorite team. Awesome. So we definitely have more in common than I thought. Yeah, we're both good looking. We're both Canucks fans. We both have Hughes jerseys, and we both have the Jets as our second favorite team. So at least 4 things that we have in common, Laura. Nux, yep, go Canucks. How many more years does Eichel play for Buffalo, in your opinion? Yeah, I know there's been rumors. I think he's there for a while still. He just vented his frustration. So I give him another at least 2 or 3 years. That's not that that's long term, but he's been there all career. Let's go 2 or 3 more years. Meninder, Vancouver versus Montreal, battle of the goalies. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Price versus Markstrom. Okay. And then did you finish The Last Dance? Yeah, actually, the day that episodes 9 and 10 came out, I watched it at midnight. I stayed up when they were released in Canada, and I watched Last Dance. Really liked it. Not a lot new there, but fascinating to see it from Jordan's eyes. Vancouver Toronto finals wouldn't be good for my relationship with one of my managers. Well, Laura, that's for you to work out. Rob, Vancouver versus Toronto in 6 games for Vancouver winning. I like that. Okay, boom. I've caught up. That's 57 minutes. I'm gonna get within my 1 hour. That was my target. So thank you. So you guys can type stuff in there, and I will catch up. This is where I basically blab for the next 2 minutes, and I catch up on all the comments later because I don't read them while I'm doing my wrap up. So thank you. That was my first one without the boys, without the kids for a long time, but we did just fine. We went for an hour nonstop. I know this is just me talking, but I guess that's the whole point of these things. But I love your questions. I love it when you answer your own questions, when you engage with each other. That's the whole point. If I can be a vehicle for us to all chat as Canucks fans, then that's what I want to do. So no matter where you're watching from, no matter what you could be doing tonight, I thank you. I know the comments are going crazy right now, but I'm trying not to get distracted by them because I want to do a proper wrap up. So thank you. You guys know I appreciate you. You guys know that I know that you can be doing anything else, but the fact that you come on with me for those of you that stayed the whole time, an hour on a Sunday night, I really appreciate it. And even those of you overseas, I appreciate you just as much. So this week, don't have a Zoom interview lined up yet. There are a couple of people that that I've reached out to that have said yes, but we just haven't nailed down a time. Maybe not as big as Darren Drager, but I think just as interesting. So I'll work on that. Might do a couple interviews with other podcasts and other, media outlets. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And I have a crazy busy 3 weeks at church right now because for those of you that are Catholic, we are trying to get our kids through, not my kids, but our parish kids through First Communion and Confirmation in the next 3 weeks potentially. So that could be very busy as well. So thank you. I asked you to hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate that. It just looks good on the stats. And I appreciate all the comments that you left in the chat box. And I asked you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, but you likely have. That's why you're here. And most importantly, I asked you to stay safe, to stay healthy, to take care of yourselves, to take care of each other. And thanks again for being here. As always, good night, God bless, and go Canucks go.